Today in the virtual sanctuary, we will expand our conversation as we will discuss communication and social media in the church and what role social media can play in your church and how social media platforms can help you optimize your efficiency and communication methods. Research shows that there is a need and an opportunity to bridge the gap with digital technology and the church. And in order to bridge this digital divide, it is critical for us to consider a comprehensive strategic approach to impact communication, communion, and discipleship. How do we as a church in this era of virtual presence bring our members on board as we make this technological change? These are just some of the topics we discuss here in the virtual sanctuary. And today we will continue that conversation with communication and social media. As a doctorate student studying semiotics, church, and culture, I continue to believe that research is critical for understanding the macro picture of culture and trends today. Not only am I a doctoral student, but I'm also an elder. And I believe that pastors, elders, ministers, and leaders of the church caring for souls in this new reality, I believe it is critical for us to explore and consider and be in tune with what culture and faith trends are emerging today. We have been ushered in very quickly into this new reality, particularly as it relates to the pandemic. And as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, it has changed the landscaping of church and what we have known for many years to be church in a sanctuary that is a brick and mortar building. But we're in a new reality, church. Yes, a new reality. And the pandemic has exposed the gaps that the church has on social media using digital technology. The importance of an online presence. We're going to talk about your digital footprint and what that means, about the communication that social media platforms allow for us to have. We're going to talk about best practices and how can we be responsible and be in control of our virtual presence using social media platforms. What is a social media online presence? I like to call it a virtual presence. And the basic definition of an online presence is this: it is the collective existence of a company, individual, in this case, a church, that can be found online via an online search. And so why is it important to have an online presence today? In this virtual world that we live in, an online presence is important, I believe, for three reasons. One, it allows communication and networking. An online presence is a communication tool, and it will help you connect with more people, and it gives your church a voice and expands your reach. It provides opportunities. It is an online presence that opens doors to do outreach virtually, and it allows for you to self-market, to get your message, your sermons, your communication out. You know, it's difficult to market something through word of mouth today, and it's not as effective as using online tools. It's faster and it has the opportunity to reach more people. You know, marketing your church as a brand is just as important as marketing a company's brand. So social awareness provides social listening. Yes, as a church, you have a voice and you must use it wisely. Your virtual presence is your digital footprint. It is one's unique set of digital activities, actions, and communications that leave a data trace on the internet or on a computer or other digital device, and it can identify the particular user or device. Your digital footprint is important as a church. One, it expands your reach. Expanding your reach is critical in a period where some churches, many churches, not even just in the United States, but around the world, are not able to congregate in the buildings, in the sanctuary, as a result of COVID-19. So expanding that reach through your virtual tools is important. And your digital footprint allows for people to follow you and to find your ministry. I continue to believe, particularly as a doctorate student, that research is critical for understanding the macro picture of culture and trends today. And look at how statistics show social media is impacting and being used in our society today. A survey conducted by Barna Group in 2017 shows that more than half of Bible readers use the internet. More than half, 55%. And 53% use a smartphone to access biblical texts. This is a significant increase from 2011. And so what this suggests is that your followers are, one, using the internet, and two, social media as a part of their worship routine. And it suggests that they're also suggesting to us that you need to have an active social media presence to take advantage of their virtual online engagement. Another survey, according to Lifeway research, shows that almost 70% of churches offer Wi-Fi for staff and guests inside of their churches. This is critical because while church is going on in the building, your members, your attendees, your worshipers are still connecting to Wi-Fi, giving them that virtual reach. So if you want to successfully reach your audience, increase your membership, social media is no longer a nice to have. It is a necessity. It is an essential communication tool directly to your congregants, to your followers, and to potentially future members. But we have to make smart choices online. Social media platforms online are for your church can lead to a positive digital footprint that can facilitate communication and outreach to your members and your followers. Social media is your communication tool. In fact, research shows that almost 85% of churches are using Facebook, 15% using Twitter and Instagram. Social media are critical platforms to the church. We must be consistent and have a strategic plan on how we use these social media platforms. We know that approximately 51% of churches claim that at least one staff member regularly blogs or posts on social media, expanding the message of the church through their digital platform. And 54% of Christian millennials watch online videos about faith or spirituality. This is faith meeting technology. This is a critical tool for us to use as the church to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. And as we look at technology, we have a voice, but it also provides a social listening ear. 62% of churches use social networking to connect with their individual outside of their congregation. This is the trend. Social listening, providing a social engagement virtually. And so 73%, according to Lifeway, 73% use social media to interact with their congregation. In order for the church to remain influential and have a voice, it is critical to use these tools because it allows for us to build our reach. It is that lifeline. And it gives us a voice, and we have to know our voice. And how do we know our voice? We have to pick the platform. There are a lot of platforms available, but it doesn't mean that every platform works for you. So it's critical for the church to remain influential, but we also have to know which platforms work best for us. There are numerous platforms available. And so what we're going to discuss is, one, who do you want to reach? That's what you have to ask yourself. We want to know who our audience is and who we want to reach. And then we have to expand our reach and decide which platform we want to reach. Photos of your services, photos of people who are involved in your church. There's an opportunity to use these videos, these events, to generate interest in your church. Allow for that connection to keep people informed about changes, particularly in this environment as we're changing quickly and rapidly. So you can post these photos and you can correlate them with hashtags. And I know you guys have heard about hashtags, but what is the importance of hashtags? How do they work? What is the significance of these hashtags? Hashtags can help you increase your social media presence as they make your content viewable by anyone who has interest in that particular hashtag. So it goes beyond just your followers. Hashtags can help you build and bring awareness to your church or yourself by engaging with members and followers and joining the conversation about what's trending. And so an example of hashtags would be hashtag Motivation Monday, hashtag Wisdom Wednesday, hashtag Devotion Thursday, and you can post your inspirational videos, your messages, your photos that fit into these categories to expand your reach. And another place where you see hashtags is on Twitter. Twitter is a great platform to share updates about your church. There are 280 character limits on Twitter. So your message needs to be clear and it needs to be concise. An opportunity to share updates of events or spiritual quotes, because it's about the characters and the clear and concise messaging that you want to share content frequently with your followers. And you'll be able to post multiple tweets about important information in your church. So social media has the power to help you reach more people. So if you want to start attracting and expanding your reach, your voice, your influence, and most importantly, the gospel of Jesus Christ, these social media platforms that we've discussed are great for helping you connect, communicate, and disciple. Yes, using social media platforms helps to give you a complete presence. Your online presence must be a complete presence, both physically in your church and virtually in your virtual sanctuary. Social media platforms expand your reach. And as we move forward in the 22nd century church, we have to redefine our communication and our communication tools as a church to maximize our capacity, our reach, our influence, and our work of God in the Great Commission in the kingdom. Research shows clearly that there is a need and an opportunity to bridge the gap with the digital divide in the church. And so it helps us to connect. It helps us to communicate. And with this digital divide, we have to keep in mind new ways to engage, to communion, and to disciple. Social media has the power to help give us the reach to our members, our followers, and our future congregants outside of the building of our church. And you know, the mission remains the same. The mission, the call to disciple over 2,000 years ago remains the same. The objectives haven't changed, but the environment around us has changed. We know the compelling story of Jesus is necessary and more relevant today than ever before. And while digital technology and digital discipleship allows us to talk to large targeted audiences and targeted groups in unprecedented ways, it's imperative that we become more savvy in our methods in the online space. Christ's commandment and method is still applicable in the age of social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. But now we must cut through the noise. We must win the hearts of people in a new environment and in a new online space. We must have a collective, comprehensive approach, church, with an integrated virtual approach to reach God's people. We are called to disciple. But in the virtual sanctuary, we believe that technology also allows for us to connect. But God has also equipped us to utilize the tools that He has given. And so in the virtual sanctuary, we believe that connecting the church through digital technology is critical to the future of the church. So if you and your church are in need of full service digital marketing plan, a strategy for your church as it pertains to technology, we at the Virtual Sanctuary are experienced in creating social media plans for churches, for organizations. And you can reach out to us on our media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and yes, we're even on YouTube. Subscribe to the Virtual Sanctuary and follow us for more information on how to connect your church using digital technology.
want to discuss strategic planning. We want to help you learn the proper steps to take so that you can successfully transform your church and ministry. With this strategic plan, you can gain or understand your competitive advantage and identify your unique selling point. So years ago, when it came to strategic plan, it is something where you planned out the next 3 to 10 years of your business. But in today's climate with the constant changes, a strategic plan is an ongoing process. Again, it's an ongoing process that you must continually review every at least 6 months. With technology, the emerging markets, it is important for you to understand and to learn how to keep up with the constant changes. Your plan could potentially be obsolete within the next 6 months to a year, but it's important for you to have contingencies so that you remain flexible with any changes that can occur. Within this strategic plan, your strategy needs a strategy. So yes, you have a strategy to build your ministry online, but you need a strategy to fully establish that strategy. There are 3 questions you should definitely want to keep in the back of your mind as you undergo these various stages. 1, can I predict what potential changes could occur within my industry or niche? 2, if I'm able to predict it, do I have the means to shape or control how they play out? Or 3, am I capable of planning of how to survive these predicaments? These are 3 questions you must constantly ask yourself, keep in the back of your mind so that you can remain forward of the various changes. Just know that there isn't one strategy for every situation. Every solution that is provided, it is specifically tailored for your unique situation. So do not think a one-size-fits-all approach can work. This is why you cannot compare yourself to other churches, where you may have the leadership to execute a task. They may have the marketing funding to heighten it beyond your capability on a global scale. So do not compare yourself to bigger churches, older churches, or even a newer church, a church with the same demographics, or a church that is multiracial. Every church is structured differently, and it's important that your strategy fits the variations of the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats specifically for you. It's key for you to understand, how do you find what the need is? You find the need by asking those you're trying to serve. So the answer is not necessarily whatever you deem is right. The answer is based on the data you collect from your parishioners to figure out what is it they need and desire to remain engaged and to remain consistent in participating within your ministry. Survey. Your survey, it goes beyond your 8 to 15 people on your leadership or key volunteer team. This survey is to be reached out to those you wish to participate and those who have yet to participate in your ministry. You want the external data from both perspectives so that you can have a large range of an idea what the needs are for your targeted audience. So when it comes to the distribution of a survey, this is going to vary based on your capabilities. I strongly recommend doing an electronic survey. With your survey, I strongly recommend Google Forms. It's free, easy to use, and it'll allow you to distribute it to multiple platforms if needed for a data analysis. Once you have this external data, then you want to compare it to your mission and vision. Now, I just want to say this. Your mission and vision should already be established prior to collecting the survey results. Once you fully identify your mission and vision, you then compare it to your survey results. Now let's spend a little more time with the mission and vision. So when it comes to your mission statement, think of it as stating, what are you going to do and how are you going to do it? And where your vision statement clearly defines a future-focused idea that you're trying to achieve. So once you get your survey results, you then want to compare this external data to your mission and vision statement. Your mission and vision does not change. However, when you address your survey results, you want to make sure how you address it aligns with your mission and vision. So once you get the results of your surveys, our next step is going to be understanding what our strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats are, a SWOT analysis. In this SWOT analysis, we're going to identify how we can best address all of the concerns and needs that our parishioners listed. First, let's start out with strengths. When you discuss your strengths, these should be a list of things that you guys are doing really well. Whether it's your leadership, just having the knowledge or access to resources, the capability of interacting with your desired demographics. It could also just be your ability to get things done. You'll be very surprised, but a lot of people just don't complete tasks. And if you're capable to have a goal and achieve it, that is phenomenal. Administration and operational skills are key. And if you have those strengths, definitely list it. Next is weakness. I'm just going to say this. If you feel your weakness is your ability to accomplish your task, or the leadership is a weakness, stop. Stop right now with the entire strategic planning process, and you need to figure out how you're going to develop or get leaders. As a ministry, you need leaders who are knowledgeable within a specific skill set to get the job done. Whether it's in HR, IT, marketing, operations, organizationally, you need to make sure you have individuals who have the expertise to execute the job. For example, when it comes to your finances, make sure you have an accountant, someone who's knowledgeable on nonprofit accounting. If you're still using volunteers to handle your accounting, take the time to train and develop them. You could be missing out on various tax reliefs or opportunities to gain additional funding and you just don't know. Train your people. Take the time to get them educated on whatever task that they are specifically hired for. If you're volunteer ran, it's important to train them as well. Do not let your volunteers just volunteer. Train them for whatever task in which you desire and test them continually to make sure they are abreast on the current methods or strategies that you want them to execute. Don't let them just lead themselves. Please take the time to have training programs in place and develop them. You cannot successfully execute a strategic plan without leaders. If you spend a lot of money and weeks on strategic planning and you don't have the personnel to get the job done, stop. Don't waste your money. Develop your leaders. This is key, and this is the only way you're going to accomplish your task. One minister, one pastor, one bishop cannot do this all. You must collectively bring yourselves together to get this done. Now, if you have the leadership in place, but you just don't know what to do next, okay, we'll then continue with the process. And let's continue with the opportunities. This is something each of the individuals involved in this decision-making process should research. Research what opportunities are available. And an easier way to define it is, what is everyone else doing and what are they not doing? Whatever it is they're not doing, that is your opportunity. A lot of people aren't necessarily focused on the widows or developing children's ministries. Children's ministries actually is one of the main reasons on how adults select their church. So if you don't feel that the churches in your area have a strong children's ministry, there's your opportunity to develop a great, engaging children's ministry that makes them want to return every Sunday. Now let's talk about threats. Now, the most common threats is typically finances. So with that being said, you got to be conscious on budgeting and making sure you remain economical with all of your approaches. With that, you may have a dependence on your volunteers. If that is the case, it is essential for you to invest time in development, giving them love, and just making sure they know that you know that they are valued. You have to value your volunteers, especially if they're the heartbeat of your ministry. When you do your strategic plan, definitely want to make sure that you have your mission and vision statement. You then get the survey from your parishioners, and you focus on leadership development of individuals to make sure they can implement this strategic plan, and then execute that SWOT analysis of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And once you complete that, then from there, I am confident that you will have what it takes for you to execute your desired goals. Make sure you include individuals who are future focused and are critical thinkers. And just make sure they're team players. There's nothing like having a strategic plan and everyone is arguing with the other. Everyone's opinion should be valued and taken into consideration, because you have to remember that there's a great chance a good portion of your parishioners may also have that perspective. And the only way to validate or to figure that out, you have to survey them. That is why that survey is so important, so that you, as the ministerial leader, you know who to value and what are the concerns of your parishioners and your staff and leaders that are around you.